Guys, okay, so today we're covering 8.3, which is area and perimeter of composite figures. So let's talk about what is a composite figure. It is a figure that can be separated into regions that are basic plane figures. Okay, so now let's talk about what do we do to figure out the area of a composite figure. So first step, we break the figure apart into the shapes with areas you can find. So you got to make sure it's shapes that you can find, like squares, rectangles, parallelograms, triangles, trapezoids, and circles. Then you find the area of each, and then we find the sum. Well, to find the sum, that means we add them all up. So we add all areas. All right, so let's look at number two together. Well, first thing, I'm going to see what are my two shapes. I've got a parallelogram and I have a triangle. Okay, so I have two areas. I've got the area of the first shape, which is the parallelogram. So that means I'm going to be doing base times height. Now, a lot of us need to make sure that we label what's that. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, remember, it's the dimensions that make a right angle. Well, it's not seen right here, but you can assume that this side and this side make that right angle. So therefore, my dimensions are 23 times 10, which gives me 230. Okay. Figure 2, which is the triangle. So that means I'm going to do 0.5 or 1/2 base times height. There's my formula. Remember, you always write the formula first. Well, remember, it makes the right angle. So therefore, here's my base, here's my height, or they could be interchangeable. So therefore, I'm going to have 0.5 times 24 times 7. Now, to be perfectly honest, I put the 24 first because I can easily do 1/2 of 24, which is 12 times 7. Now I get the handy dandy calculator. 12 times 7 equals 84. My final step is where I add the areas together. So I'm going to have 230 plus 84. Calculate my area, add it together, which equals 314 meters squared. This is my final answer. All right, we're going to work a couple of these examples, okay? We're going to jump to the back now, or to the next page, because you're just separating these out. Like here, we've got a triangle and a rectangle. Here we have a semicircle and a square, triangle and a trapezoid, base 1, base 2, height, 2 semicircles, draw a line, and we have a trapezoid and a rectangle. All right, flipping over. We're going to look at number 10. I picked number 10 because we've got several shapes here. Now, when I'm looking at this, the 20 is all the way across, okay? This is halfway between, so therefore, this is 10 all the way across here, 10 all the way across here. Since these two are the same, then these together make one circle, okay? Those would make figure 1, which would be a circle. Then we have the trapezoid, which is figure 2. Then I have a semicircle, which is figure 3. All right, now we find the area for each one. So the area, figure 1, we said was one circle, which is the two of them together. So this is the diameter all the way across, then that means, so my diameter was D, so that means my radius is going to be 5. So remember to find this, it's pi r squared, so that means I'm going to have pi times 5 squared, which gives me 25 pi, which is 25 times 3.14, which equals 78.5. All right, so that was the first shape. Now we have the second shape, which is the trapezoid, which is 0.5 times the height times B1 plus B2, and we plug in our formulas, our dimensions, I mean. So therefore, we got to figure out what the height is. Well, it's 28 all the way. Well, if this all the way across is 14, then that means halfway between, means from here to here is going to be 7, correct? So that means I would have a distance from here to here that would be 7. Well, if this is a 5 from here to here, that means the distance from here to here is 5. So to figure out the height, which is this distance here, I'm going to do 28 minus 5, which is 23, minus 7, which gives me 16. That is the height of the trapezoid. Okay, so we have 0.5 times 16, and then the 14, and all the way across. So this would be B1. This is B2. So we have 20 plus 14. So half of 16 is 8. And then I add these together, and that gives me 34. So we have 8 times 34, which gives me 0.5 times 16, enter. 14 plus 20 is 34. 34 times 8, oh yeah, okay, is 272. They just wrote the wrong answer in that place. So that's 272. All right. Now the next shape, which is this last little semicircle, figure 3. The area for the third one. Well, that's half a circle. So that means I'm going to be doing 0.5 times pi r squared. So I'm going to have 0.5 pi. Well, if it's 14, we already found that this was my radius. So we have 7 squared. So that's going to give me 0.5 times 49 times pi, which gives me 24.5 times 3.14, which makes this equal 70. Write it where you can read it. 76.93, round to the nearest tenth, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so that means this is going to be 76.9. You're going to notice that some of these numbers are going to be slightly different because when it's doing its calculations, it's doing the pi button. I will make sure that I'll rescan or find the, just understand that it's going to be slightly off because you're doing 3.14 versus the pi button. All right, so now to calculate this, we have to add all the areas together. So it's going to be 78.5 plus 272 plus 76.9. Which gives me 427.4 centimeters squared as the final answer. Okay, now we're going to look at a problem where we have to find the perimeter and the area. Okay, so we're going to jump down and look at number 13. Okay, so we've got three shapes here. We have the two semicircles, which happen to have the same diameter. So therefore, together, it makes one whole circle. Then we're going to divide this shape into the triangle and the rectangle. Here we go. So we got to find the area of the first figure, which together makes one whole circle. So that's pi r squared equals, well, if my diameter is 12, that means the radius is going to be 6. So this is going to be pi times 6 squared. So that's going to be 36 times 3.14, which equals 113.04. Oops, I need this to stay up here. Let's see if we can find something to hold it. There we go. Okay. Now we find figure 2. So for figure 2, that's a triangle. So that's going to be 0.5 base times height. Okay, well, if this is 16 across here, then that means this is 16. But what I have to worry about is what's the height of the triangle? Well, from here to here is 7.1. So to figure out that height, to figure out the triangle height, we have to do 16 minus 7.1. Which gives you 8.9. So now I can figure out. So I'm going to be doing 0.5 times 16 times 8.9, which is going to give me 8 times 8.9, which equals 71.2. And next, the third shape, which happens to be a nice little rectangle, which is base times height, which is going to be 7.1 times 16, which gives me 113.6. Now, remember, to find the composite area, we add them all up. So I have 113.04 plus 71.2 plus 113.6. Now, the last one, I did them all together just because I didn't have space. Technically, you can only add two things at one time. Plus 71.2, enter. So this is 184.24 plus the 113.6. So therefore, my final answer is 297.84. And what's my unit? Inches squared. That's finding the area. Now we find the perimeter. Now, what we have to remember here is we're just doing the outline. My highlighter, it's buried. We just want the perimeter. That means I'm just wanting this outside edge. I don't need to worry about the inside. So I'm going to find the circumference of the circle. Okay. The circumference, which is, I know my diameter, so it's pi times the diameter. So that's going to give me 3.14 times 12. Which is 37.68. Oh, this is supposed to be round to the 10th. So this is going to be 297.8. Okay, so then that's the circumference. Now I look to see, okay, I have two 7.1s because they're one on each side. If this side is 7.1, then this side is 7.1. So I have 2 times 7.1 plus 16 plus the semicircles, 37.68. Okay, so I'm going to do this multiplication, and I can also do this addition. 7.1, which gives me 14.2 plus 16 plus 37.68, which gives me 53.68. And then we add those two together. Make sure you type the numbers in correctly. No, like I did. So therefore, the perimeter is 67.88, but it says to round to the tenths. So therefore, this is going to be 67.9 inches is what my perimeter equals. Okay. Have a great day. Bye.